There is a voice inside of you that was never meant to be quiet. It was never created to conform, to retreat, or to shrink in the presence of doubt, fear, or judgment. That voice, your voice, carries centuries of purpose, generations of truth, and the raw, divine force of transformation. You were chosen not to sit in the shadows, but to shake the foundations of this world with the very power of your truth. And yet, you've been silencing yourself. You've been shrinking. You've been told you're too much or not enough, too loud, too sensitive, too different. But let me say this to you now, with every ounce of clarity. The world doesn't need less of you. It needs all of you. It needs the sound of your soul unleashed, the thunder in your throat awakened. Because when you speak from that sacred place within, you do more than express. You ignite, you awaken, you shake nations. Before we dive in, I want to ask you to stay with this message until the very end. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. It's not just words, it's an activation, a spiritual unlocking. And if you feel the call rising inside you, I invite you to comment your warmest, deepest wish in the comments below, along with the number 77, a symbol of alignment, divine energy, and the universe conspiring in your favor. Because yes, wishes do come true. When spoken from a heart on fire, they do more than echo. They move stars, they open doors, they rewire the world. But this isn't just about dreams. This is about destiny, about the battle between your silence and your purpose. You've gone quiet in rooms where your voice could have lit the way. You've withheld your truth because others couldn't handle your light. And every time you did, a piece of your magic dimmed. But silence does not keep you safe. It only keeps you small. And chosen ones were never meant to be small. You were created to be a disturbance in the status quo, a holy interruption, a sacred contradiction. Your voice holds codes that break chains, visions that birth revolutions. When you speak, you shake the unconscious into remembrance. You speak not only for yourself, but for every soul too afraid to rise. You've been waiting for permission. But what if I told you your voice is the permission? You keep asking when someone will see your potential. But potential doesn't need recognition. It needs activation. It needs you to stop asking if it's okay to speak and start believing that when you do, worlds will move. You're not too loud. The world's just too used to the silence of truth bearers. You're not too intense. You're the flame that burns away illusion. Your voice is the sword that cuts through spiritual amnesia. And no matter how long you've kept quiet, it's not too late to reclaim it. They taught you that humility means silence, that humility means blending in. But humility is not hiding. Humility is standing tall in your truth, knowing your voice isn't for ego, it's for evolution. You silence yourself because of old pain, moments you were mocked, ignored, or misunderstood. But those moments were never a reflection of your worth. They were a reflection of others' fear. They saw your fire and tried to put it out before it consumed what they weren't ready to let go of. But fire doesn't apologize, it purifies. And your voice, your truth, is holy fire. It doesn't destroy, it liberates. Maybe you were raised to be agreeable, to not cause trouble. Maybe you were told to be nice, to not speak out of turn. But you weren't chosen to be agreeable. You were chosen to be authentic. There's a difference. Agreeability keeps the peace. Authenticity births new realities. When you speak your truth, yes, some people will walk away. Let them. Their absence makes room for those aligned with your truth, your frequency, your divine assignment. Let your voice be the filter. Let your authenticity be the fire that reveals who's truly meant to walk this path with you. And I know you've been wounded. I know your voice has trembled before. But trembling doesn't mean weakness. It means truth is close. It means the soul is coming alive. Don't wait to stop shaking before you speak. Speak while you shake. That's how power is born. In the trembling, in the breaking, in the moments where fear tries to cage you and you still choose to roar. That's where nations shake. That's where healing begins. You're not just a voice, you're a frequency, a vibration that alters the energy of the room. You've been hiding in plain sight, but the world is starving for what only you can say, for the stories only you can tell, for the insight only you can offer. You think you're just one person, but one person with the truth is more powerful than a million asleep in silence. One voice aligned with divine purpose is a revolution waiting to happen. And you, chosen one, are that revolution. Stop silencing yourself because of rejection. Rejection is redirection. Every time they turned you away, they were steering you back to your own voice. Every door that closed was a mirror saying, "Stop knocking, speak." Every no you received wasn't a reflection of your unworthiness. It was a call to speak louder, clearer, stronger. They didn't reject you. They rejected their discomfort in facing truth. Let it go. Let them go. Let your voice rise from the ashes. You're not being called to be perfect. You're being called to be real. To speak not just polished words, but raw truth. The kind of truth that cracks illusions, that opens hearts, that reminds people of who they are. When you speak from that place, you don't need validation. Your voice is the validation. You don't need a stage. Your presence is the platform. You don't need approval. Your alignment is the authority. And this isn't just about speech. This is about living loudly, boldly, authentically. Your voice is also your energy, your art, your decisions, your boundaries, your yes and your no. It's time to live unapologetically, to walk into rooms like you belong, because you do, to take up space, because it was made for you, to speak even when your voice shakes, because trembling voices still create earthquakes. You have ancestors behind you, cheering you on. You have future generations waiting to hear the echoes of your courage. You are not alone in this. Every time you speak your truth, you send ripples through time. You shift realities. You reroute destinies. That's why the enemy tried so hard to silence you. Because your voice is a threat to systems, to lies, to everything built on falsehood. Your silence was never protection. It was suppression. But suppression can't hold a soul on fire. There is a nation inside of you, a realm of wisdom, vision, and divine clarity. And it is ready to be released. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when it's safe. Now. You don't need more preparation. You need permission. From yourself. Your voice is sacred. Your voice is prophetic. And your voice is needed. Right here. Right now. Every time you swallow your words, you dim a light that was meant to guide others. You convince yourself that silence is strength, but in reality, it's a slow erosion of your own power. Chosen one, your voice was not designed to be buried beneath layers of doubt, fear, or external approval. Your voice is sacred thunder, and the longer you withhold it, the louder the chaos becomes around you, because the universe is waiting, urging, demanding that you speak, that you lead, that you awaken others with the very truth you keep trying to suppress. This is not a suggestion. It's a divine command. You are not here to echo. You are here to originate. You've spent years second-guessing yourself, questioning your intuition, delaying your declarations. You've tiptoed around truth for the comfort of others, while discomfort consumed you from within. But no more. The time has come to trust what stirs in your soul. The whispers you hear when the world is quiet, those aren't random. They're instructions, prophetic downloads, blueprints from the divine. And they aren't just for you. They're meant to be released through your voice so others may rise too. When you withhold your truth, it's not just you who suffers. The world becomes dimmer, duller, less awakened. And don't let the fear of being misunderstood stop you. You will be misunderstood. And that's okay. Prophets always are. Visionaries often sound like heretics to those still asleep. But that doesn't make you wrong. It makes you ahead of their timeline, ahead of their conditioning, ahead of their comfort zones. The trailblazers, the disruptors, the light bringers, they were never embraced by the crowd. They were called to speak anyway, and so are you. If you're waiting for everyone to understand before you open your mouth, you'll be waiting forever. But if you speak now, even in the midst of misunderstanding, you might just awaken the very souls who were waiting for your frequency. Stop thinking your voice needs to be polished to be powerful. Some of the most transformative words are spoken from broken places. The wound gives your voice its weight. The cracks give your message its resonance. You don't have to be healed to speak. You just have to be honest. You don't need credentials to be impactful. You need conviction. The world isn't changed by people who say the right things. It's changed by people who say the real things. And chosen ones aren't here to perform perfection. You are here to provoke purpose. Even when your words feel like whispers, know that they're thunder in the spirit realm. Your voice travels further than your ears can hear. You may speak in a room alone, but somewhere across the planet, a soul wakes up because of the vibration you released. Don't judge your impact by what you can immediately see. Ripples don't always look like waves, but they move entire oceans in time. Your words matter, even the small ones, even the ones you almost didn't say, especially those. You were silenced by systems, by traditions, by fear-based ideologies that told you to stay small. You were told that humility meant invisibility, that obedience meant never questioning. But the truth is, you weren't meant to be tamed. You weren't meant to sit silently at tables that were never built for you. You were meant to build the tables, to speak life over bones, to declare what others were too afraid to imagine. Your voice doesn't just challenge, it creates. And creation is the holiest rebellion of all. Your silence has cost you more than you realize. Opportunities missed, connections lost, moments where your truth could have unlocked someone else's chains. But that's not a reason to drown in guilt. It's a reason to rise. Every second you have breath, you have a choice. Speak or stay silent. Rise or retreat. You've already tasted what silence feels like. Now it's time to experience what it feels like to roar, to command rooms with authenticity, to lead not because you're better than anyone, but because you're brave enough to be yourself. And yes, speaking your truth will make you lose people. That's part of the refinement. That's how the divine filters your circle. Some people are only attached to your silence. The moment you speak, they will fade. And that is your confirmation, not your loss. Let them go. Let the wrong ones leave so the right ones can enter. Let your voice be your gatekeeper. When you express the fullness of who you are, you will not only repel what doesn't serve you, you will attract what was always meant for you. You're not here to keep the peace that keeps you imprisoned. You're here to disrupt the false peace and declare true freedom. And true freedom comes when your voice aligns with your soul. When you say what you've been too afraid to say. When you no longer filter your truth to fit into rooms that were built to exclude you. You're not here to adjust your volume. You're here to turn up the frequency until the room adjusts to you. You may not be the loudest in the room, but when you speak from truth, you are always the clearest. That clarity cuts through confusion. That clarity is magnetic. It gathers those who've been searching for something real, something sacred, something unchained. Your voice is not for everyone, and that's what makes it powerful. You're not here to be consumed by the masses. You're here to speak to the few who are ready. And when you do, they will hear you, clearly, deeply, fully. And don't think that speaking your truth always looks like standing on a stage or preaching to crowds. Sometimes it's a private conversation, a boundary stated firmly, a refusal to laugh at what offends your soul, a courageous no, an unapologetic yes. Speaking doesn't always require a microphone. Sometimes the most powerful declarations are whispered with certainty, lived out with conviction, and felt with the heart. Let every word you speak and every silence you choose come from alignment, not fear. You've been entrusted with a sound that only you can release, a frequency that breaks illusions and opens spiritual eyes. That sound is within you, waiting, pulsing, rising. And it will not be still forever. You can suppress it for only so long before it bursts through your throat like fire. But you don't need to wait for the pressure to build. You can choose now. Choose to speak. Choose to live. Choose to let your truth be heard, not in desperation, but in divine authority. Because when you speak, chosen one, realms shift. Chains break. Hidden things are revealed. Falsehoods tremble. And the world remembers what it forgot in its sleep. Remembers that there are still those who walk in fire, speak in thunder, and move in truth. You are one of them. You are not random. You are not mistaken. You are not too late. You are exactly on time. And your voice, your sacred voice, is the trumpet call this generation has been waiting for. They told you to be quiet because they were afraid of what your voice might change. And they were right to be afraid, because your voice is not just sound, it's power, it's blueprint, it's revolution. You've been quiet because you didn't want to cause waves, but you are the wave. You didn't want to take up too much space, but space was made for you to take up. Not because you are arrogant, but because you carry truth in a world built on lies. And truth is not gentle to falsehood. It shakes foundations. It dismantles illusions. It births a new order. And that's why they tried to silence you. Chosen one, you were never supposed to blend in. That discomfort you've always felt when you held back, that was your spirit rebelling against self-betrayal. Your silence was never peace. It was suppression. You were choking on the words that needed to breathe. And every time you held them back, you dulled your own flame. But now, the flame is becoming a wildfire. You can't contain it anymore. The words you've swallowed for years are rising like a tide. And this time, you won't hold them back. You can't. You were divinely designed to speak light into darkness. Not all darkness is loud. Some of it is quiet and polite and cloaked in routine. But your voice is disruptive by nature, not because it's harsh, but because it is honest. And honesty breaks patterns. It pulls people out of numbness. It cuts through the noise and says, "Wake up. There's more. There's always been more." That kind of truth can feel like violence to those who built their identities around denial. But you weren't made to maintain illusions. You were made to set captives free, even when they don't know they're in chains. You've been asking for a sign, a push, a moment of clarity to begin using your voice fully. This is it. This is the sign. This is the push. You will not be given another perfect moment, because there is no such thing. Waiting for clarity has become a disguise for your fear. But clarity comes through movement, through speaking, through action. The more you express what's inside, the more the path unfolds. The voice creates the way. It activates what's dormant. It rearranges what's stagnant. So don't wait. Speak, even when your voice shakes. Speak, even if no one applauds. Speak, even when no one agrees. Because your voice is a seed, and seeds don't bloom instantly, but they always grow. And let's speak this truth out loud. You were silenced, not just by others, but by systems, by schools that taught you to memorize instead of think, by families that told you to be nice instead of real, by churches that taught you to fear your own gifts, by relationships that punished your honesty. All of that was part of the conditioning. But now you know better. Now you feel the tension inside you, the pressure of all the truth you've been storing up. That pressure is sacred. It's not a burden. It's momentum. It's purpose getting ready to explode into expression. The world doesn't need more polite silence. It needs brave truth. And that truth lives inside of you. Your voice carries the resonance of your journey. Every time you speak from your lived experience, you create a pathway for someone else to rise. That's why the darkness wants you quiet. Because your voice doesn't just liberate you, it liberates others. Your healing is not selfish. Your truth is not a threat to unity. It's the foundation of real unity, unity built on transparency, not conformity. And even when you think your voice doesn't matter, that no one's listening, that you're speaking into a void, speak anyway. Because sometimes your voice is not for the masses. Sometimes it's for one soul who needed to hear that exact word to keep going. And sometimes that one soul is you. Sometimes your voice is what keeps you alive. Don't underestimate the power of hearing your own truth echoed back to you through your own mouth. Don't underestimate what it does to your spirit to finally tell the truth out loud. Stop apologizing for being intense. Stop shrinking your passion. Stop editing your fire for rooms that were never built to contain it. You weren't made to dim your truth to make others comfortable. You were made to be a mirror, reflecting what people are too afraid to see in themselves. And sometimes that means you'll be rejected, misunderstood, judged. That's the cost of truth. But it's also the path to real freedom. When you embrace your voice, even in the face of rejection, you break the chains that have held entire generations in silence. You weren't born to be an echo. You were born to be an origin, a starting point, a shift. The voice that initiates the new, the word that begins the change, the truth that breaks the cycle. And that's a heavy calling, yes, but it's also a sacred one. You don't have to carry it alone. The universe, the divine, the ancestors who spoke before you, they are all behind you. Every time you speak, their power moves through you. Their wisdom echoes in your truth. You are not alone in this. You were never alone. Even the fear you feel, it's proof that your voice holds weight. You wouldn't be afraid of something that didn't matter. Fear is just an indicator that you're standing on sacred ground, that what you're about to release will ripple far beyond what you can see. So honor the fear, but don't obey it. Walk through it, speak through it, turn it into fuel. Fear is not a wall, it's a doorway. And the other side of that door is power, like you've never known. This is your assignment. Stop silencing yourself. Start speaking from the place inside you that never stopped believing, never stopped knowing, never stopped burning. Start writing, start sharing, start standing. Start saying no when you mean no. Start saying yes to your own voice, your own power, your own calling. You don't have to know all the steps. You just have to open your mouth and trust that the truth will carry you the rest of the way. The more you speak, the more you become. The more you become, the more you create. And the more you create, the more this world begins to look like the truth you carry inside. That's what it means to shake nations, not with force, but with frequency. Your voice is a vibration that cannot be silenced, not anymore, not now, not ever. You may not know this, but there are people who are surviving because of a voice they haven't heard yet. Yours. There are lives suspended in silence, waiting for the frequency of your truth to call them home. You've been chosen not because it's easy, not because you're perfect, but because there's something in you that carries the medicine of awakening, the kind of medicine that can't be bottled, packaged, or copied. It comes from a soul that has been through fire and didn't forget how to speak while burning. You've lived through things that would have crushed others. You've learned the hard lessons. And now you have something to say. Don't waste that sacred wisdom on silence. Don't let fear steal the sound of your survival. The world doesn't just need inspiration. It needs your vibration. That raw, real, unfiltered truth that only you can express. Your voice doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It just has to be real. And when it's real, it's revolutionary. This is what the world needs more of. Not voices trained to entertain or perform, but voices that remember. Voices that carry history in their bones and destiny in their breath. That's what you are. You are a living archive of resilience. And every word you speak in your truth activates another soul's permission to do the same. That is how nations begin to shift. Not through noise, but through resonance. And here's the truth you must never forget. Your voice is not just for now, it's for what comes after. The echoes of your courage will be felt in the future. Long after you're gone, your words will linger in the spaces where truth was once too afraid to live. Your story will travel beyond your name. That's the legacy of the chosen. They speak not just to be heard, but to leave behind a frequency of freedom. And that's exactly what you're doing, even if you don't see the results yet. Even if no one claps. Even if the room stays silent. Speak anyway. Stop assuming someone else will say what you're afraid to. Stop hoping someone braver will do what you were born to do. It's you. You're the one. Not because you feel ready, but because your very existence is the evidence of what's possible. Your survival is your message. Your healing is your anthem. Your breath is your proof. You don't have to become someone else to make an impact. You just have to stop hiding the truth that already lives inside you. Every time you mute yourself for the comfort of others, you abandon a part of your mission. You disconnect from the reason you're here. The world doesn't change by silence. It changes when someone stands up and speaks what has been buried. And sometimes that someone feels completely unqualified. But qualification never mattered to purpose. What matters is willingness. Are you willing to stand in the storm of discomfort so others can feel the warmth of truth? Are you willing to be the first voice in the room who tells the truth, even if it shakes? If you wait for perfect alignment, you'll wait forever. If you wait until you're unafraid, you'll miss your moment. The path forward requires movement through the fear, not around it. Your voice isn't something you find one day, it's something you reclaim piece by piece, every time you choose truth over convenience, power over approval, purpose over peacekeeping. You weren't born to maintain the silence, you were born to break it. And it's not always going to be easy. Speaking truth in a world addicted to lies is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But it will also be one of the most freeing. You'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. But you will gain yourself. And that is a gain no one can take from you. Because when you have your voice, you have your alignment. You have your compass. You have your anchor. And when you speak, you don't just raise your voice, you raise your vibration. You call down the frequency of your higher self and embody it in sound. You become the bridge between what is and what's meant to be. The world hears a voice, but the universe feels a shift, because sound is creation. And when your voice aligns with your spirit, what you create is not just noise. It is destiny spoken into existence. And maybe, just maybe, the silence wasn't ever about fear. Maybe it was preparation. Maybe the quiet years were sacred ground. Growing your voice in the dark so that when you finally did speak, the world would feel it. Not just hear it, feel it in their bones, in their memory, in their DNA. That's the kind of voice you carry. That's the kind of voice that shakes nations, not because it's popular, but because it's pure. And no, you won't always get it right. You will stumble. You will doubt. You will have days when the silence feels safer. But you will also remember that staying silent is a form of spiritual death. And you weren't created to die with your truth still buried. You were created to live fully, which means expressing completely, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's when it matters the most. So when the moment comes, and it will, when the words start rising in your throat, don't push them down this time. Don't analyze, overthink, or shrink. Just let them rise. Let them move through you like wind through a canyon. Let them echo through time. Let them rewrite your story and help someone else rewrite theirs. You don't need permission. You are the permission. You don't need a platform. Your existence is the platform. You don't need the crowd's applause. You need your own soul's recognition. And it's waiting for you to speak. Because you, chosen one, are the sound the world didn't know it needed. You are the frequency that aligns with a higher truth. And when you speak from that place, there is no resistance that can stop you, no system that can silence you, no doubt that can contain you. You are beyond the fear now, beyond the past, beyond the limits that once held you down. You are rising, and this time, your voice rises with you. You don't realize how much you've already changed the world just by surviving, just by waking up each day with a heart that still cares, a mind that still questions, and a spirit that still seeks. But now, chosen one, it's time to do more than survive. It's time to speak, because there are people living in a fog of confusion, despair, and numbness, and your words are the lightning that will tear through it. Your voice is a compass. It reminds others of where the truth lives. No one else has your exact path. No one else has lived your specific heartbreak, your triumphs, your battles in the dark. That means no one else has your insight, your wisdom, your tone. Your vibration is completely original, and that is exactly why the world needs it. You are not meant to be an echo. You are meant to be a signal. And signals don't just blend in, they call out. You are not here to be digestible. You are not here to fit neatly into boxes that make others comfortable. You are not here to dilute your soul, just to be more liked. You are here to be loud with purpose. Loud doesn't mean yelling. It means being impossible to ignore. It means standing in your alignment so firmly that no one can question your presence. Even if they question your message, they'll feel you, before they understand you. And that's more powerful than you can imagine. There is something magnetic about someone who speaks from deep within. You've felt it before. When someone says something that makes the hairs on your arms rise. When they name a truth you didn't even know you needed to hear. That's what you carry too. That same energy. That same electric charge. And when you let it move through your voice, it doesn't just awaken others. It reminds them. It brings them home to a version of themselves they forgot existed. And here's the deeper truth. Silencing yourself doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. Every time you choose not to speak, not to show up, not to share your truth, you feed the illusion that your voice is unworthy. But that's a lie, and you know it. That's why your silence doesn't bring peace. It brings restlessness. Because your soul knows there's something sacred you're supposed to deliver. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. The world rarely celebrates the truth at first. It usually resists it. But the world always needs it. And every great shift in history started with a voice that refused to stay silent. A voice that stood alone in the beginning. A voice that didn't wait for approval. That's the path you're on now. You're not waiting. You're activating. You are a messenger. Speak even if your voice trembles. Speak especially then, because trembling means your soul is near. It means something real is trying to emerge. And yes, your truth might come out raw, unfiltered, even messy. But messy truth is sacred. Messy truth is alive. It breathes. And that breath brings life to others who've been suffocating under the weight of pretending. You'll be surprised at how many people are waiting, praying for someone like you to go first, to speak first, to crack the air so that they can feel safe cracking too. You were never just meant to inspire, you were meant to ignite. You are the match, the voice that lights torches in dark places. And each time you choose not to hide, another soul finds their way forward. This isn't about ego. It's not about needing attention or applause. It's about assignment. You were placed here to move mountains, not with your hands, but with your sound. And when you own your sound, you own your impact. The mountains that seemed unshakable, they begin to crumble. The barriers between hearts, they begin to dissolve. The fear that ruled so many minds, it begins to lose its grip. You are not called to speak only when it's easy. You are not called to show up only when the audience is friendly. You are called to be a consistent vibration of truth, whether the room applauds or turns away. You are the echo of divine remembrance, the thunder that follows stillness, the crack in the wall that lets in the light. And don't forget, your voice is not just sound. It's a frequency, a vibration. And frequencies don't die. They linger. They travel. They awaken. That one sentence you almost didn't say. It might be the one thing that saves a life. That video you hesitate to post. It might be the exact message someone in despair is begging the universe to send. Don't deny them that. Don't deny yourself the miracle of being heard. Every great movement began with someone who refused to silence their truth. You are that someone now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The moment becomes perfect when you speak into it. Don't wait to be validated. Your existence is your validation. Your journey, the joy, the pain, the scars, is proof enough that what you have to say matters. Because you matter. Let this be your vow. I will not go to my grave with my voice buried inside me. I will not hand the world a silent version of myself. I will roar if I must. I will whisper if I must. But I will not disappear again. I will speak. I will shake the atmosphere with truth. And I will trust that the world is better every time I let my soul be heard. So rise. Take a deep breath. Let every word that's been waiting find its way through you. You don't need permission. You don't need a script. You just need your own truth and the courage to say, "This is me. I'm here. And I will not be silent anymore."